Citizenship quickly came out with the best and freest passports in the world for 2022. And we did this different than any of the other type of passport rankings that I've seen, because we took three real strict variables in consideration that I haven't seen before. But really, to have a really good passport, you got to have these three variables. If you don't, it's not going to be a great passport. You can't just look at visa-free travel. The three variables that we took in consideration was, did the country have a territorial tax system or pure tax haven status? And we actually went a little bit further, and we stated, if it had a non-domicile status in that country where a person could literally get their taxes almost down to zero, we also included that. There were three countries we actually looked at. Two of them we actually included in that. We also looked at, does the country allow dual citizenship? Folks, if you don't have a country that's going to let you have citizenship with multiple countries, you're not going to have freedom, because if you get in trouble, that country that you got your passport with, they can cancel your passport, choose not to renew it. You're stranded. You can't get another passport because now you got some sort of civil or criminal problem. And these passports, when you fill out the applications, they're going to ask you if you got any sort of background trouble. So now if you got a background problem, you can't get another passport, and you're not going to be allowed to if you're set up with a country that doesn't allow dual citizenship. We also looked at the countries that had the most visa-free travel. We put that number one, okay? And then the other two were just as equally important, which was the tax status and also the dual citizenship. And we came out with the 11 best countries in the world that actually had this. Now, a couple of things I want to mention to you that on Ireland and also Malta. These two countries have what's called a non-dom status. And Ireland's is different than the UK. We left the UK off. UK used to have a real good non-dom status, but what happened was they started coming out with a minimum number of years, which is roughly around 7 years, roughly, that you can qualify as a non-dom, and then you have to pay out a pretty hefty pound sterling minimum tax, and then it goes up even higher in several more years, and then it ends, okay? It used to be like that, but the Liberals went nuts, so they started bringing in these new tax changes. Now, Ireland never has come out with this new change. So Ireland has no limits with the current laws right now that they've got, where as long as you don't bring money inside the country, you can make it outside the country as long as you don't bring it in, and on a remittance basis, you won't be taxed on it. So again, Ireland taxes income based on when you remitted it. And there's a couple of ways that you can actually get around some of these remittances. One way is if you set up a bank account in Ireland, maybe right before you get the residency set up, then that's not going to be counted as remitted as long as you do it before you get the residency, the tax residency set up in Ireland. And then you can just live off that money. Now, once that gives out, then if you remit money in, you're going to have to pay taxes on that. So you might want to remit quite a bit of money coming in to start off. Now, Malta has also a non-dom status in their tax system, but they do have a minimum tax of 5,000 euros a year. So no matter, even if you get your taxes to zero, they've got a minimum of 5,000 euros that you're going to have to pay if you're not paying any sort of taxes there at all. Now, Malta does not tax remittance even on the year that you make it if it's a capital gain outside the country. If it's dividend, they will tax you on that, okay? Now, Ireland, also you're going to have to take in consideration, has probably some of the worst weather. We didn't take that as a consideration here on these three steps that we looked at, but I'll tell you something, I would definitely take a look at, or at least visit Ireland for a couple of weeks before you make a decision to move there, because it's got the worst weather of any place I've ever been to. And they also have one of the highest suicide rates in the world, probably because it's so gloomy there all the time. I mean, it's wet, rainy, and just freezing cold all the time. So this is, I could not hack it, but some people don't mind cold weather. So, I left that out. But they do have really good visa-free travel. That's one thing that's really nice about Ireland. So, it's something that you can consider. Now, also, folks, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport as quick as 45 days, do 3 things. Hit the subscribe button at the right of your screen right here and the notification bell next to it. You'll get new videos automatically. We've got over 700 videos now. This is where you pick up a lot of good free tips. Number 2 is I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. Number 3 is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. Now, again, the 3 things that we considered was, does the country have a territorial tax system, a non-dom status, or a pure tax haven status as far as taxes go. And we also looked at number 2 is, do they allow dual citizenship? And number 3 is, do the countries that we have on the list, we're looking at, does it have real good visa-free travel? We took visa-free travel as number 1. Then we went down and we started taking all the other countries out of the list that didn't have a great tax system. Either it didn't have a territorial, pure tax haven, or a non-dom status. And then that had allowed dual citizenship. And I'll tell you something, when we threw those 2 ingredients in, man, it just knocked out a ton of countries. Very few can fulfill all 3 of these, but this is why we did this type of system, because this has all the advantages that you want when you're getting a second passport. And just looking at visa-free travel is a mistake. I'm telling you, you want total freedom when you get these passports. Now, let me go through some of the things, and we actually did a ranking on this, and we put the passport that had that we rated the lowest because it had lowest visa-free travel on the bottom. And then we worked up from there. Now, some of these countries, you will have to pass a language test. And I'll go through that too. Most of them you will not, but that's another thing we looked at, but we didn't make it as a requirement. So if you speak English, you shouldn't have any problems in getting most of these. Okay, now on the bottom of the list is a country called Guatemala. It has 133 countries, visa-free or visa-free on arrival. It does have visa-free to the Schengen countries. And that was ranked number 11. Number 10 was El Salvador with 134 visa-free or visa-free on arrival countries and territories. Grenada was number 9 with 144 visa-free or visa-free on arrival countries and territories. Dominica was tied with Grenada at number 8 and 9 with 144 visa-free countries that you could travel to. Number 7 was St. Lucia at 146 countries, Antigua and Barbuda at 150. Now, one thing you got to take into consideration with Antigua and Barbuda, no income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax. Most of the countries on this list, you make money inside the country, they're going to tax you, okay? Antigua is one of the few, and Barbuda is one of the few that will not. And St. Kitts and Nevis are others that will not, do not have an income tax or capital gains tax or state inheritance tax. And Antigua and Barbuda, you can go to 150 countries visa-free or visa-free on arrival. Now, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is 151 countries. Seychelles has actually probably the most visa-free travel that you can go to any place in Africa, with 152 countries, and it does have a territorial tax system. It does allow dual citizenship. St. Kitts and Nevis was number 3 at 162 countries. Malta, I debated on whether to put Malta above St. Kitts. I only put it above St. Kitts because it had more visa-free travel at 185 countries. Malta does have a non-dom status. It doesn't have what I call a territorial tax system, although you can make it territorial almost. Malta does have a minimum tax of 5,000 euros a year, no matter what you remit in the country. I don't like that because you can't get it to zero, but it does have real good visa-free travel in 185 countries. I would put really a toss-up between that and St. Kitts and Nevis. You're looking at roughly around 23 more countries you can go to visa-free with Malta. You might want to look at those countries and see, is it really going to make that much difference? Living in Malta versus St. Kitts, where St. Kitts doesn't have any income tax. You don't have to worry about remittance bases. You don't have to pay 5,000 euros a year. And these are 2 things that you can look at to consider if that's something that you want. I personally would pick St. Kitts and Nevis over Malta. I don't like paying a minimum of 5,000 euros a year, but that would be up to you. Now, I'm saying that's the minimum. You could pay a lot more than that depending on what you remit back in the country of Malta. St. Kitts, you can literally make that money inside the country and have no income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate or inheritance tax, and a property tax is like 0.20% of whatever you're purchasing, with a $29,600 US exclusion before that 0.20% kicks in. All right, number one is Ireland. Ireland had 187 countries, visa-free or visa-free on arrival. Beat them all out as far as visa-free goes. Ireland, as I mentioned before, it has a non-dom status to it, which means as long as you don't bring money inside the country, you're not taxed on it. And the one way you can get around that too is bring money in and set up a bank account with a lot of money in the account before you get your residency set up. And then it's already remitted before you did the residency. So this kind of a tax loophole you can get by with, but you have to do this before the residency is set up. And this is if you can deal with the weather. I couldn't deal with the weather, but maybe you can. It's got a great track record as far as visa-free travel, as far as taxes go. Allows dual citizenship. It's got it all except the weather. If you can deal with that, that's a big key ingredient. If you want to know more on this, folks, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com. Hit the top bar that says apply with us, fill out the questions, hit that bottom bar that says send it to us. We deal with over 100 citizenship by investment, residency by investment countries all over the world. And folks, don't forget, hit that subscribe button right on your screen right here. You'll get we got over 700 videos right now. This is where you pick up stuff. You'll get these videos automatically every day once you subscribe. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And again, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and ask for some help. I'll look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.